you can be a good leader and you can be a bad leader. And I think that nowadays in today's society, people kind of just wear leadership as a title, and they think like, oh, I'm a leader, I can do whatever I want, or I just tell people what to do, or I'm a boss, right? But I think it goes so much more far beyond that, because when you're a leader, you're influencing people to make decisions. You're influencing people to listen to you. Yeah, you're influencing people to take action. Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Jasmine.
My name is Matthew Cole.
And this is the 1% Better Everyday podcast. You guys know that at the beginning of every podcast, we always like to give you guys a shout out. So this week, we actually want to go ahead and shout out the Nancy Sanchez. So she commented on her last reel on Instagram. I really like this. Being intentional when making new connections can help build new friendships. And I think that's such a huge conversation we're going to have in today's podcast, is that sometimes when we show up at these networking events, we kind of get intimidated because we think that more people know more than us, or we think that people are just farther on their journey or farther, you know, in their chapter or in business farther along than us. But we don't realize that we're all different for a reason, and we all have a different perspective on things. So I think that when you show up building relationships, confident in your skills, confident in your abilities, even if you don't know everything under the sun. I always say I don't know everything about social media, but I'm confident enough that I have been doing it for a long time, that when I show up to build relationships now at networking events, I know what I bring to the table. And that builds a different type of relationship, because you're no longer, you know, even questioning to yourself why the other person is talking. You're actually able to build an authentic relationship with the person because you're actually listening to them and connecting with them.
You know what's crazy? That's funny that you said that. I've been thinking about this idea of getting a t-shirt and going to a networking event and just put, I make social media content. That's it. Big ass letters just say I make social media content.
And that would probably get so much attention.
I know, because what I notice is at networking events, we're like squirrels, right? Like we be squirrel moment, squirrel moment, squirrel moment, and we don't really connect to the right people that we were supposed to connect to. And if the message was loud enough and can be clearly visible and quickly understandable to people in the room, you will connect with the person that you're supposed to connect with by having an easy, readable message.
Yeah, and that's so true. Going into what you just said, I think when we show up at these networking events, one thing that I used to struggle with a lot is kind of getting to the point, or kind of getting to like, okay, what is it that you do? And I think a lot of us, when we go to networking events, we're kind of like trying to tell their whole life story. We're like, oh, we do this and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, nobody cares. Like, just say your pitch line. What do you do in 3 seconds? So even by you doing that shirt, people already know you make social media content, and that gets attention fast, which is what you want. Yeah. But let's get into today's episode. Today, we are going to be talking about leadership, which I think is such a huge topic, because I know I have a lot of things to say on this topic, but do you want me to go ahead and start it off, or you have some thoughts?
I can start off.
Okay.
Well, I would say my definition of leadership.
Yeah, what is leadership to you?
Yeah, my definition of leadership is being able to encourage or positively or negatively influence somebody or a group of people to do a certain thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I definitely think leadership is about influence. I think that now I have learned that being a leader simply means, you know, being like the bigger, better person. I think for me, that's why I take that so personally now, because
I don't think so.
Or personally.
You could be a negative leader.
Yeah, you could be a negative leader, but to me, being a leader means being a better version of myself, you know? Just because on social media, so many people are starting to follow me. So many people are starting to look up to me. And I even talk to you about that all the time, where sometimes I do get a little bit anxious, because I'm like, it's such like a mind, like I guess weird concept to think about how, you know, I'm just me, you know, I'm just sitting in my house chilling, but then there's 4,000 people watching your stories, or 4,000 people just watching your everyday move. And to me, that does create a little bit of anxiety, because so many people something that we talked about in another episode is like, so many people can look at your social media and they think like, oh, this person is perfect and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then once they get to meet you in person, they judge you based off what they've seen online. And so I think for me, leadership I take it so intentionally now, where I just look at it so differently now, because I think to myself, I'm like, how many kids or just how many like younger people are following me that, you know, if I was younger, like I would just wish I would have seen like a better example, or I just wish I would have seen
A better leader.
a better version, yeah, of that.
Yeah.
And I just know when I was younger, like I was making a lot of dumb mistakes. Are you a service-based entrepreneur that provides some kind of service, but you don't know how to create content in order to convert someone from following you into a paying client? I'm going to tell you exactly what to post in order to start generating more leads, attract high-paying clients, and get more DMs than you can possibly answer. I will help you how to find your niche, how to find your target audience, and craft offers that will attract top buyers every time you go to make a post. Text me content to 513-516-7332 to learn more on how you can get mentored by me for only $99 a month.
I mean, we all make mistakes, and
Yeah.
that's how leaders become leaders too, by making mistakes as well. Again, a leadership can be positive or negative. It's just what you decide to take from it. And I noticed that I was a positive leader in my younger days based off of, again, shout out to my 6th grade teacher, Miss Crystal Morton. She noticed that I was a leader within my small classroom in 6th grade, and she put me in a position to be a positive leader amongst my peers in order to do the right thing throughout the school year or the school date or whatever was going on at the time. So that was like my earliest form of leadership. I didn't necessarily have it in the household growing up, but that was my earliest form of, okay, this is exactly what a leader positively does.
And you know, for me, I just felt like I never really got to experience any good leaders around me. Don't get me wrong. I had like influential people in my life that taught me a lot of things. But I think even now, correct, you can define a leader as so many different things because so many people have a different perspective over it.
Leadership, yep.
But you can be a good leader and you can be a bad leader. And I think that nowadays in today's society, people kind of just wear leadership as a title and they think like, oh, I'm a leader, I can do whatever I want, or I just tell people what to do, or I'm a boss, right? But I think it goes so much more far beyond that, because when you're a leader, you're influencing people to make decisions. You're influencing people to listen to you. Yeah, you're influencing people to take action. You know, one of the biggest, I guess, like concepts for me that changed how I viewed leadership was, would you want someone to be like you? Would you want someone to be following the things that you're doing? And so that's why I look at that so intentionally nowadays, because even as I'm looking for my next mentors, or as I'm, you know, looking for coaches, I'm like, do I want to be like them? Do I want to have that lifestyle? And I think about my coaches or my mentors that I've studied with, and there's always been one characteristic that I loved that they had. And to me, that's a leader. It's someone that has like a really good characteristic where you're like, I really, really like how that person does that, or I really, really like how that person is, you know, whatever your thoughts are about that situation, and you want to be like them. No. And to your point, there can be good leaders and there can be bad leaders, but for me, just in how I've changed and evolved the last couple years, I know that I want to be this better leader in person because of the mistakes that I did in the past, and how you said that sometimes you have to fail. Sometimes you don't even know how to be a leader, or you don't know how to be a better person until you fail so terribly and so bad where you're at rock bottom and you need to change.
Yeah, or it just happened to happen. So with that being said, it's like I've been on this earth for almost 35 years, and it's like it's so hard to be around other leaders or to find people within a leadership role. That's why to this day it's still kind of hard for me to even look up to people, because not that I necessarily see the flaws in everybody, but it's just like, I don't necessarily like the way you doing this or you doing that. So it's like, I wouldn't say a chink in somebody's armor, but it's just like, it's hard for me to follow people and want to be around people, because I don't necessarily see the lack